Even with all the legal confusion surrounding the case against accused killer Donald Blum, attorneys say one thing is clear.
I think anyone who's practiced law for any amount of time would know that this is highly unusual, to say the least. And in all the years that I've practiced law, I've never seen anything quite like it.
High-profile defense attorney Anthony Torres could find out at a hearing Friday if he will continue as Blum's lawyer, or if the public defender's office will be put back on the case. Judge Dale Wolf says he's so concerned about the actions of that office, he wants the chief defender fired. In response, Fred Friedman says Judge Wolf should be taken off the case.
This is a high-profile case, so everything that happens is going to be looked at very, very closely.
Even lawyers not connected to the case are paying close attention. Superior Attorney Chris Gramstrup says each side's ethical concerns are a vital part of the law's system of checks and balances.
So if there's a question of something being done improperly or someone's rights maybe being stepped on because of it, we all have an obligation to bring that out and deal with it.
But he says legal questions now could open the door to more appeals and delays in Blum's case later.
One can envision perhaps problems with appellate issues later on that again will create delays. But I think the ultimate decision on guilt or innocence ultimately won't be affected by it.
That need for legal scrutiny is the reason Judge Wolf gave when he posted flyers on the Carlton County Courthouse Wednesday. He justified his actions by writing, "No court in Minnesota can ever discharge its obligation to protect the rights of our citizens." At Friday's hearing, a different judge will have a chance to decide how best to protect those rights. Kim Kaiser, News 6.
And in light of the time that's passed from then to now, I've learned that I can get in trouble now without you.
Say anything wrong. Everybody knows exactly what to say because they know what people want to hear. So they tell them exactly what people want to hear. You're a little bit different. So why is it that all hell breaks loose whenever you say something?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 years ago, no one cared.
Right.
And in reality, Dave, all the things I say I've said before. They're not new.
Right.
But now, all of a sudden, when I say them, apparently they're going to have a major effect on world policy.
But the difference, I thought about this afternoon, the difference is now when you speak, you're no longer just speaking for yourself. You're speaking as a representative of the people who voted for you, and you're speaking as a...
An unbelievable journey ends in a farm field in northeastern South Dakota. Wreckage from a Lear jet. On board, reigning U.S. Open champ Payne Stewart.
It's a large crater in the ground. For my estimation, it'd be big enough to put a large utility vehicle such as a Suburban into.
There it is. That's right there.
Air traffic controllers lost voice contact with the plane shortly after its takeoff from Orlando heading to Dallas. After the plane veered from its flight plan, assuming it was on autopilot, security advisors called in military planes for a closer look. Pilots saw frosted windows and no signs of life, indicating loss of cabin pressure.
It was very disheartening and very frustrating for me to pull up alongside that aircraft and not be able to offer any assistance.
Stewart, the winner of 3 major tournaments, was born in Springfield, Missouri, where part of his family still lives.
That he was such a family man. He loved all of us. He loved coming home to Springfield. This was his home.
The popular champion, known for his old-style knickers, was headed to Texas to play in a tournament in Houston. Leanne Gregg and
preparation for a career was derivative. Experience is conceived more in terms of personal gain than of public purpose. I would like to present to you a symbol of our diocese, again with the mission of colleges like St. Scholastica is to join professional education and liberal learning, and so to frame career preparation in terms of human wisdom and civic contribution. How happy it makes me to
That's buds for me.
That's what was in the paper.
Hate to see the end of summer.
And we're here to see them.
I smell it.
Perfect. Where do you want it?
Yes.
I meant to get her here to see them.
I smell every one.
Thank you very much.
Monday. Oh, okay, a week from Monday. Is the lobby going to be ready by that time?
Lobby's supposed to
On Wednesday of last week, the people brought in our new furniture. On Friday, they picked up our old furniture, and we just brought in our files and started bringing in our computers and our files and start a business today.
Not on the phone. Tom, when you want to get on the computer with Home Solutions and show them the scanner, can you actually scan a few sheets for them a second there or something? One for physical therapist, occupational therapist, speech therapist, social worker. Okay.
We're at 18 right now.
18 right now, and 19 on Monday.
19 on Monday. You might want to use that number.
We even hired 3 people this month, in fact. 2 new programmers and a product support person.
Did that have to do with the move up here as well?
Develop a new comprehensive city plan. And
build our tax base is by having a diverse economy and tourism. We do that in a number of ways. First of all, by being open to calls and letters and
everything we can talk about. They love to be heard.
Technology Village. What information can you offer to reassure Duluthians that the city's approach the podium, please?
And your question.
What steps do you plan to take to develop a new comprehensive city plan? And until
Auto repair industry leaders say fewer students are interested in studying auto mechanics these days, and fewer high schools are offering courses. Experts say soon the nation will feel the pinch of a skilled mechanic shortage. This is an endangered class.
I want to know about automobiles. I want to know how they work. I like to learn about things that interest me.
Not building the schools with auto facilities or other industrial arts. It's going another direction.
At the same time, garage operators say vehicles are getting more complicated technologically. That's discouraging people from entering the field or from getting qualified to do the work.
It's very difficult to find people qualified to work on today's newer cars. Absolutely no question.
A survey by the Automotive Repair Coalition suggests that with the changes in technology and bad recruitment, the auto industry will be facing a severe shortage within 1 year. The industry is about to launch a program to help accelerate the recruitment of young men and women into the repair field.
Is not just bringing new technicians, new hands, new wrench turners into the industry, but people who can actually identify with consumers, effectively communicate with consumers.
The mechanic recruiting program will concentrate on females. The group says a recent study shows half of all cars sold in the U.S. are purchased by women.
The Pacific Northwest, pounded by harsh winter storms and record snowfalls last year, can expect much of the same this year. That word from government weather experts.
That's going to enhance.
In fact, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration says most regions of the country will experience winter weather conditions that are a repeat of last year.
We should be getting some warmer than average weeks in the central, northern, and eastern states, but we certainly expect bouts of colder than normal temperatures and considerable rainfall and storminess.
Scientists say the reason this winter will be so much like last year is La Nina, the abnormal cooling of waters in the Pacific Ocean. It's illustrated here in blue. So the Southwest, dry last winter and spring, can brace for more drought conditions. It'll also be drier in the Southeast, in places like North Carolina and Florida, where recent hurricanes caused massive flooding.
For this winter season, we have a high degree of certainty that precipitation will be below normal in that region, and it'll give them a chance to dry out.
Scientists say people in the northern Great Lakes region, in places like Detroit, where a snowstorm last winter wreaked havoc on air travelers, can expect above normal amounts of the white stuff. They say the forecast for the Northeast is uncertain because of conditions in the North Atlantic, but scientists expect to have a better idea in a few weeks. This may be the last winter for a while where La Nina is a factor. Scientists say the weather pattern could break down by spring. Beverly Kirk, NBC News, Washington.
Mark and Michelle, after another day of questioning potential jurors in Donald Blum's federal weapons trial, about half of the jury pool has been selected. The judge and lawyers have considered 37 people so far, and they've selected 22. Now, these people will go into a jury pool from which 12 jurors and 2 alternates will be selected. The questioning process is going a little quicker today after the judge has limited some of the lawyers' questions. This is mainly to find out what potential jurors have heard so far about Donald Blum in the media. Everyone's heard something about him, mostly in reference to the state's charges of kidnapping and killing Katie Poyer. But since this is a separate case, jurors are asked if they can put aside their feelings about the state case. They're also asked if they would feel pressured to return a guilty verdict in this case because the state's case is going more slowly. Those who can't separate their opinions on Donald Blum or other issues like their opinions on firearms have been dismissed from the case. Even though this is a different case from Katie Poyer's disappearance, her grandfather has sat in on the court proceedings again today. Also, her parents and her brother came in for just a short time and then they left. Tomorrow, this will start again with another 40 potential jurors who will come into the courthouse for individual questioning. They will try to continue to build up that jury pool, which, as I say, right now stands at about half full. Mark and Michelle.
Swarmed by media in a taste of what's to come in Japan.
We're just walking through the mall. There'll be nothing earth-shattering.
Governor Ventura's visit to the Mall of America was billed as a shopping trip through the eyes of a Japanese tourist.
Good to see you. Keep those rides rolling out here today.
But the governor bought nothing, barely window shopped, and power walked by nearly every store, lingering only at a tourism bureau.
Fishing opener right there, Crane Lake. Next year's fishing opener.
And a postage store where he promised to carry the legend of Paul Bunyan to the Far East.
What I'll do then, maybe I'll pack this in the suitcase for the Japan trip. That'll work well.
Ventura leaves on Monday for a 10-day trip to Japan, where his schedule includes everything from a reunion with his one-time Japanese tag team partner to a reception with the American ambassador to a major announcement of an agricultural trade deal. The governor says he'll be a walking advertisement about what makes Minnesota so unique.
It's a pension fund basically for college employees, teachers, stuff like that.
Yeah, you can kind of.
Mark and Michelle, after deliberating for less than an hour, a jury has found Donald Blum guilty of possessing firearms as a convicted felon. That means Blum could get anywhere from 15 years to life in prison. One of the jurors said they returned a guilty verdict so quickly because the evidence was, quote, fairly overwhelming. The prosecution called several witnesses over the course of the trial who said they saw Blum carrying or shooting some of the guns that investigators found on his property near Moose Lake. Blum's lawyer said that many of those witnesses were either mistaken or lying. But a juror said they had no reason to doubt the testimony of one co-worker who says he sold Blum a gun 2 years ago. And while this case is separate from the state charges of kidnapping and killing Katie Poyer, her family says they are very happy that the man who once confessed to her murder was found guilty today. Katie's father says this is their brightest day since she disappeared back in May. Now, Blum's lawyer asked the jury to set aside their feelings on that case while they were considering this one. But Blum's son, Donald Pence Jr., says he thinks the media coverage in this trial has prevented his father from getting a fair trial. He says they wanted to get him on the federal weapons charges because they didn't have enough evidence in the state case. Blum has asked to remain here in the Anoka County Prison. Sentencing is scheduled for the beginning of January of next year. In the meantime, they will conduct a pre-sentence investigative report, and that will be drawn up to help the judge decide what the sentence should be. But again, he could get anywhere from 15 years to life in prison. Mark and Michelle?
They wait the whole year for this, a chance to stand in the forest with nothing but the birds and the wind, and maybe, just maybe, a chance to take a shot at a whitetail.
Oh, he is a dandy.
It's the 1999 Firearms Deer Opener. 30 minutes before sunrise, they will be in stands, on stumps, and alongside swamps. A blaze orange invasion.
I was so tired. I sat on the ground. I fell asleep.
Over 30 years of hunting, Jack Dunbar has seen deer populations at low points and high points.
They were driving this woods. Something startled me. I woke up. My head was like this. I saw the belly of a doe right there. It come roaring through here. Saw me and it jumped, and I woke up and I saw his belly here. Scared the heck out of me.
Our camera has followed the Dunbar group through opening weekend the past 2 seasons, recording mixed results.
Congratulations, sir, young man.
That is neat.
That's a dandy.
That's a heck of a deer.
2 years ago, the group found plenty of bucks. Last year, they saw almost none. For most hunters, the past 2 years have been lean after severe winters in '96 and '97 resulted in a major deer die-off. The North Shore and border areas are still down. Hunters there can shoot only legal bucks. But state wildlife officials say west and south of Duluth, the deer herd is bouncing back. Doe permits have been sharply increased, and hunters are expected to kill about 150,000 deer. That's up from a low of about 130,000 2 seasons ago, but nowhere near the record kill of 229,000 set in 1992.
Nice one, Roy.
Oh boy, that is a nice one. Boy, that's a nice deer, isn't it?
Nearly 500,000 people are expected to hunt the firearm season, 1/3 of those in the northeastern part of the state, yet most will never fire their gun. Still, they'll wait on a deer stand, listening, watching, blending into the forest, carrying on a Minnesota tradition. In Duluth, Dave Jensch, News 6.
For me, it's a time where I get together with past friends, the guys that I don't see maybe once a year. But it's also a time you get to spend alone and be alone in the woods and maybe have some time to yourself, think about life, think about what happened this past year, and I guess it's hard to explain.
Yeah, it's looking really good. A lot of guys are seeing deer by the roads now, and some people with the feeder are seeing bucks coming in and chasing does around, so it's looking really good.
For News 6.
For me, it's a time where I get together with past friends, the guys that I don't see maybe once a year. But it's also a time you get to spend alone and be alone in the woods and maybe have some time to yourself, think about life, think about what happened this past year, and I guess it's hard to explain.
We're going to go out for a wonderful lunch. We'll probably go shopping some more, and then it'll be out for the evening. And as long as we're home by the time the guys leave in the morning, it'll be great.
Say, I'm from Wisconsin. Our season don't start till Thanksgiving week, and there's not much else to do when the wife says, let's go.
We weren't going to go bigger, but...
No, 6, thanks. 6. Thank you.
It's a little bit odd to be wearing shorts in the first week of November.
Shorts and a tank top or a t-shirt, it's warm.
It feels kind of weird.
This is why it's nice in November, because you can still be sure of your footing. Pretty soon there's going to be snow and you're not so sure about what's under your feet or how the next step is going to land. But this is nice.
Well, I was just sitting in my stand and he come by about 8:30 this morning, came by me and going against the wind, and I got lucky and hit a good shot on it.
Unlike the last 2 deer seasons, experiences like these seem to be the norm this year. So far, the deer harvest is up almost 80% on average, and it's up as much as 500% in some areas. Registration stations around the Northland say they're actually getting overrun with happy hunters.
Oh, it's just been phenomenal this year. This is our first year as a registration station, but you know, we've had our big buck contest and we're just seeing a pile of deer this year.
Wildlife biologist Rich Staffen says this year's success is due primarily to the fast recovery of the deer herd after back-to-back brutal winters decimated the deer population in '95 and '96. Staffen says even with a large harvest this year, hunters will actually only kill about 1/3 of the buck population, not enough to hurt the growth of the herd.
What we're trying to do is allow a substantial harvest, but at the same time allow a modest increase in the herd, assuming we get a normal winter.
As for the rest of this year, well, the DNR says on average about 60% of the deer registered are shot in the first 3 days of the season. But don't worry, there's still plenty of time and deer left to fill your tag.
It always gets tougher as the season goes on, but there's still deer out there to be taken and people shouldn't give up.
In Duluth, Craig Schliemann, News 6.
Billings always do good too.
People that are in need out there, and just thinking about everybody.
So we just want
15 years ago.
How many times did they turn down the beat?
There's times in my life when I've been down on my luck and different agencies have helped me out. And so I think it's just kind of important to give that back. You could tell me a little bit too why you decided that today would be
out doing it. I kind of laugh, you know. And once we get it all done, the people that drive by kind of enjoy it, and that kind of makes and brightens our day too when we see that they enjoy our efforts. And we're not in a contest or anything. We do it just because it's a fun thing to do and a neighborhood thing to do. So. Can't live without a dog. How about if we'll each get a dog? And so we went on the internet and found a breeder.
Haven't bought any yet. We're still testing. We got 3 more that we're going to test out.
But your total campaign goal was 100,000?
100, yeah.
You could use a mascot, you know, at the station. Can you guys have a mascot?
He basically climbed up there and just got himself stuck, and he'd been up there most of the day. So at first he was a little bit scared and was barking at us. So then we brought a hot dog up there, and then we made friends real quick. And so then we let him down to the rocks and tried looking around the neighborhood, but nobody seemed to recognize him. So we're just trying to find the owners.
Yeah.
Right.
So now, how many cameras have y'all been able to buy?
Well, we haven't bought any yet. We're still testing. We got 3 more that we're going to test out.
But your total campaign goal was 100,000?
100,000.
Yeah, I don't know. What is he, an English Springer
English Springer.
Spaniel?
Yeah, English Springer Spaniel. Had a collar, but just no tags.
That's a good shot. Keep it from licking the lens.
Yeah.
What was his collar? What was his collar?
This is his collar. This is what he had on him. So.
It's a new collar.
Yeah, it's a pretty new collar. And
oh.
Jurors in Superior will have to decide whether David Lee Williams is guilty of first-degree murder. Police say Williams and 3 others took part in the killing of Carl Peterson so they could get a higher ranking in a gang known as the Imperial Gangsters. Williams was living with Peterson and his son Patrick at the time. Last week, Patrick pleaded guilty to being party to the crime.
I think a significant factor for him was the family. Concerns regarding his family and their feelings. I know he's had family members who've been encouraging him to help them, I guess, get closure, to come forward and discuss what really did happen.
In exchange for his plea, Patrick Peterson gave authorities a detailed description of what happened the night his father was killed, and he'll also be called to testify against Williams. 2 others were involved in the crime, Alejandro Rivera and Lauren Ray Freakert. Both men are still awaiting trial. 13 jurors will listen to testimony this week. They'll be sequestered until the trial is over. In Superior, Jody Grayson, News 6.
The need is there because we have a lot of people working at minimum wage jobs or just above minimum wage. And when Christmas comes, I don't know, it hits my pocketbook, and I'm sure it hits theirs even more difficult.
For the warm welcome. Ernie, thank you very much, and for all of you being here tonight. I think this is very
That's what I was afraid of, because it seems to stand up for it.
The Wise Youth Movement has ties to the militia, to the extremists who are actually trying to destroy our land, and we're here as environmentalists trying to preserve and protect our land for ourselves and our families and future generations.
Donald Blum has been down speaking to authorities for several hours. In the course of speaking to the authorities, he has admitted to both the kidnapping and the killing of Katie Poyer.
Defense attorney Rodney Brodeen wants to take those words back. He has filed a motion asking that Donald Blum's September 8th confession be thrown out of court, but prosecutors are preparing for a battle. They are vowing to keep Blum's statement in the records and may even try calling Brodeen and Blum's other attorney, Joanne Piper Maurer, as witnesses. Attorneys for both sides will return to court on December 10th, but Blom's confession is not the only issue that will be before the judge. Yesterday, defense attorney Rodney Brodeen filed this letter listing an additional 12 issues he wants the court to address. Included on the list are a request for a change of venue, a challenge to a videotape, a challenge to search warrants submitted in the case, and a possible challenge to the tooth that allegedly places Katie Poyer on Blom's property. The defense is challenging evidence that may be key to the prosecution's case after DNA tests failed to connect Blom with the murder of Katie Poyer. A judge will have the final say in what can be used in Blom's murder trial. In Carlton County, Jana Katsuyama, News 6.
I like it, and the company and that. Yeah, so I get to see all my friends and that.
It just explodes in your mouth. Oh.
It's Hawaiian. What makes it Hawaiian?
It has pineapple, raisins, coconuts.
That sounds good. And then this is the regular. This is regular coleslaw.
I want the new Pong game. I wonder where I can find that.
Diane O'Donnell prefers to do her holiday shopping in the comfort of her home.
I don't like the crowds. It gets hot in the stores and you can't find what you're looking for, and it's easier to do it from home.
Instead of searching through dozens of stores, Diane and her daughter Allison searched through dozens of websites, hoping to find that perfect gift.
Let's see, what have we got? Nintendo 64. Sometimes you like to get out into a store, but I believe I'll be doing a lot more shopping online when I can have it delivered right to my door. I don't have to worry about that last minute thing. They'll be bringing it right to me. I don't have to go out in the storm or find a place to park.
More and more local businesses are advertising their product online, hoping to attract more customers to their websites and to their stores.
I'll get starter kits for getting into beer and wine making, all of the different ingredients and equipment and supplies. And then we've also got some cigar and tobacco accessories too.
At electricoutlet.com, you can find pictures and descriptions of this year's biggest sellers.
Really just go through the entire store and look to see what you might want to buy, and then get a good feel of what it is and comparison shop, and put it in your grocery cart and hit the button and away it goes. So,
and just a few days later, your new purchase is delivered right to your door. But what about internet security?
all of the systems now that we use at the electric outlet are 100% secure, so your credit card number is not flashing across the screen. It goes directly to us, and we're completely secured information with that.
As for return policies, well, that's the same both online and off. If you're not satisfied, just bring it back for a refund. In Duluth,
There's been a lot of interest in the black powder right now just because of the season that's going on. But it's a sales thing sales have been slowly increasing over the years. And so I would expect that to continue on.
Your barrel is dirty. Maybe the tax material is too thin. Or maybe the...
You know, we're an older building, and the problems that have evolved with an older building as far as maintenance and technology, and also as far as meeting gender equity needs as far as our locker room facilities, our handicap facilities, and being handicap accessible.
Trade policy, and there's very little consideration given to worker protections or human rights or environmental concerns as part of this corporate mentality, really, as far as the trade agreements. And so they're trying to bring the more human perspective to the discussions.
I've got to meet some great people.
Well, we just had a change in the balance of power here for the time being, at any rate. Anything else? Yeah.
Here's your lutefisk. And you had the meatballs?
It's whitefish. It's excellent with butter or white sauce. I eat it once a year. It's just like smelt. Once a year is enough. I cook up a lot of it. I cook up probably 300 pounds by the time we get done tonight.
And you had the meatballs? You had the meatballs?
Somehow I got caught cooking lutefisk here about 9 years ago from an old timer that trained me without even me knowing it, and I've been cooking it ever since.
"40-year-old Michael Staunton was arrested within moments of being released from St. Mary's Hospital in Duluth, where he's been recovering from injuries he suffered in an unrelated car accident. 26-year-old Roy Lee Olson was arrested at the beginning of this week and has been in jail ever since. 34-year-old Daryl Kokochek's body was found by his estranged wife the night of November 23rd in his rural Mountain Iron home. He had been killed with a stab wound to the heart. Police reports indicate Kokochek had turned in Michael Staunton to authorities this past summer for dealing cocaine, and that Staunton had been charged with possession and sale of cocaine and marijuana because of that information. A copy of Kokochek's statement to police was found under Staunton's bed. Authorities think that could have been a motive in the murder. But Staunton's defense attorney denied that today.
And, you know, we've got the underlying drug case going, and so it did not surprise me that they would find copies of statements from potential witnesses in the drug case because I gave them to them.
Twin Cities attorney Daniel Mose says he intends to prove that Staunton has an alibi for the time that Kokochek was murdered. Roy Olson's attorney also denied that his client had anything to do with the murder.
The only comment that we have at this point is that the evidence will show that Mr. Olson is not guilty of this offense.
But police reports indicate that Olson confessed to driving Staunton to Kokochek's house and helping him in the attack. Authorities also say they have a witness who places both Olson and Staunton at Kokochek's house during the murder. The witness says he saw Staunton carrying a bloody knife as he left the house. Staunton's attorney says he's busy tracing his client's steps the day of the murder and says he will prove Staunton couldn't have killed Daryl Kokochek. In Virginia, Barbara Riles, News 6.
Seems good. It's a fun track. I like the jump out there.
We're very pleased the way our machines are performing. I wish Mother Nature would cooperate a little bit with some snow, but I still think we're going to have a real fun weekend. The riders are sure excited. We've been waiting for this for many months. And
Slide 429 out of Brook Park, Minnesota on the Moore Parks, Pinetown Sports, Lee Sports Shop.
You wouldn't know it by looking at them, but these are the faces of a war. It's a fight that's pitted animal rights advocates against the medical research community for decades. But now both sides are a step closer to declaring victory as the universities begin to phase out the use of live animals in medical experiments.
The decision is not new. We haven't used any animals in the medical school curriculum for over 10 years now. If we can possibly use alternate methods like tissue culture, we try and do those as much as we can, but some are impossible to change.
But change is happening. In just 6 years, the number of cats and dogs sold to the UMD Medical School has gone from 56 in 1993 to just 2 this year. It's a change that's attributed primarily to advancing technology. Students can now use computer programs and synthetic models rather than live animals. It's a shift that comes as a great relief to local animal shelters.
The biggest thing that I just am glad now that I don't have to worry when an animal is at the shelter and I know it's placeable. I don't have to wonder if UMD is going to come and ask for that animal. You know, it's kind of a relief.
But this decision goes far beyond soothing the human conscience. It also means more public support for both sides of the issue.
For the public image that we present, it doesn't seem real good for us to be, on the one hand, trying to place animals and on the other hand, sending some to research.
It's a rare situation where both teams can win, but in this case, researchers get to continue their fight to improve the quality of human life, and more animals will be allowed the freedom to live theirs. In Duluth, Craig Zleeman, News 6.
Michelle lawyers for Blom argued that the case should be tried outside Carleton County. Citing massive pretrial publicity and overwhelming community participation in searches and memorial services, Blom's lawyers said it would be extremely difficult to find impartial jurors. The prosecution contends that this case has received equal media attention throughout the state. Blom's lawyers also asked that Blom's September 8th confession to kidnapping and killing Katie Poyer should not be allowed in trial. They said such statements can't legally be used when they're made as part of plea negotiations. But the prosecutor argued that Blom gave the confession voluntarily to authorities separately from his plea bargain discussions. The judge took both matters under advisement. A ruling is not expected before the end of the year. Michelle?
But we will be emphasizing more work in the marine environmental protection area this next year, as well as doing more Coast Guard support missions with the U.S. Coast Guard cutter Sundu.
That's a good way to put it.
Oh, I said, okay.
We appreciate it. No problem. Thank you.
Despite the festive spirit given off by the holiday lights, spirits aren't so bright for Duluth's Damon and Brenda Anderson. Their handcrafted Grinch Who Stole Christmas figures were themselves stolen.
My husband had a business trip in the cities and we did a little shopping. We got home about 12:30 that night, and it's the first thing I looked for because it's only been out a week and I love it, and I'm so proud of it, and that's the first thing I noticed was that it was gone.
Grinch napping may not be a felony yet, but the Andersons did report the crime to the police.
And the very nice police officer that answered the phone didn't know who the Grinch was.
Now the Andersons are on a mission to get the Grinch and his dog Max back. They've faxed sketches of the missing lawn ornaments around town.
Hopefully when they're done with them, they'll take care of them, babysit them, and gently place them back.
If the perpetrators don't get caught by the police, the Andersons feel they'll eventually have to answer to someone dressed in red.
Did the police give you any hint on what sort of penalty or fine there is for conviction in Grinch stealing?
No presents.
But here's pages of other parts, photographs of other parts of the state. Yesterday, and shared our recommendations that we need to prohibit state forest land. And they did that by classifying all our state forests. What we're looking at here is symbolic of what we're seeing statewide. A trail that's been closed to motorized vehicles. In fact, it's posted twice. It's been gated. The gates have been ripped open.
You are rich because you have given these toys to other children, and they'll be distributed by the Salvation Army to children who otherwise might not have a happy Christmas. So thank you all very, very much from New 6.
Place. Grade Center's collected 1,200 cars this year.
The Minnesota FFA has worked with Cars for Courage for a long time, and we said this is a chance for us to get involved. We really want to do it.
So far this year, statewide, we've collected 1,200 cars, and this is our first time in Duluth, and today so far, we're pretty excited about it. Mile.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many miles are on it?
100 and...
Get your VIN number off this.
Yeah.
There you go. Thank you very much. Take care. We'll see you now. Bye-bye.
I actually sat up in bed and I was smelling something. As I sat up to smell, at the same time I had asked my husband, do you smell that? He sat up and right then and there the smoke alarm went off.
The Stoyevich family lived in Pleasant View Trailer Park on Grand Avenue in Duluth. 4 smoke detectors went off in the mobile home shortly after 4 a.m., awaking Kelly and her husband Paul.
He said, grab Paige, and he went to go grab my son Jeff. Grabbed the kids and actually got outside with 25 to 30 seconds to spare.
Firefighters say the smoke detectors saved their lives. Kelly, her husband Paul, their 6-year-old son Jeff, and 4-year-old daughter Paige escaped injury, as well as the family dog. Their pet rat Herman did die in the fire. As toys lay charred and melted in the snow, the family wonders what they'll do now. Kelly is 9 months pregnant. The family had no insurance and lost everything they owned.
The only thing that we came out with was what we were wearing.
Even though the home and its contents are a total loss, the Stoyeviches say they're alive and together, and that's what's most important.
Yes, we've been getting calls at my parents' house since 6:30 this morning.
Yeah.
And since we woke up and started making phone calls and finding out that people have been trying to call us here since early this morning, we've been on the phone pretty much nonstop since probably 8 or 9 this morning.
here comes Santa Claus, here comes Santa Claus.
Action figures, ornaments.
He's the governor of Minnesota.
Running down Santa Claus Lane.
He has a funny attitude and everything. I don't really think he should have said the things that he did, like in the Playboy article.
Blitzen, blitzen, all here's a reindeer.
But 11-year-old Jake Stone is willing to overlook a little injudicious candor in the noble search of a good gift.
I'm looking for a Christmas gift for my mom's boyfriend.
In fact, boyfriends and brothers, moms and sisters, even Rob Wertheimer's dad,
great, thanks.
One Jessie doll. Great. Are going to find gubernatorial-inspired gifts under their trees this year.
I've had poor success with gifts in the past, so.
What makes you think this is the answer this year?
It's funny, at least. It's new and different and funny.
And plenty of other people think so, too. Stores are sold out of the buckskin-jacketed Jessie doll, and the ornaments have been a big hit. New T-shirt designs debuted in time for the holidays, and the shot glasses have done a brisk trade. Store manager Mary McGuire says people are suddenly asking about her politics.
So a lot of people want to know if you voted for him or what your political views are.
Only the governor's book seems to have cooled off, on sale at a mall bookstore for 30% off, with a staff recommendation that said, hey, come on, he's the governor.
Jump in bed and cover up your head, 'cause Santa Claus comes tonight.
Smoke drifted from the rooftop early this Christmas Eve morning as fire crews worked to put out a fire in a Superior apartment building.
Possible cause was the girl living in one of the apartments had a candle in a little plate and had it sitting on the back of the couch, and then she fell asleep and the candle still burning.
Fortunately, all 6 tenants escaped without injury, but firefighters say such accidents are common, especially inside homes during the holiday season, when fire hazards abound.
Christmas season is always bad as people put up trees that are dry, basically trees will start on fire very easily, and they'll have candles next to them or have faulty lights on them with wires that could short out and cause a fire.